All right, here I am in the in the Auckland Botanical Gardens with my Kiwi girlfriend right here. It's the last day abroad for me. Tomorrow I fly home, so I thought I'd go through a bunch of shit, like my favorite spots, what I learned, the hard times. Because you guys have been watching, or for those of you who have watched my videos, most of the time you pretty much just see all the good stuff. Because when I'm in a rut or shit's hit the fan, I'm not usually filming. I'm trying to deal with whatever the problem is. So I'll talk about it now, and then at least you'll know that this trip wasn't all bananas and rainbows. So got my notes here. Favorite and least favorite places. No place was perfect. Every place I went to, I had good times, and every place I went to, I had less good times. It's kind of a mixed jumble, but there are definitely places that I liked more, and there are places that I liked less. So I guess we'll go for least favorite first. And a lot of you have talked to me in person will know, or probably will have heard that, you know, I complained a lot in China. And so yeah, that's my least favorite spot, or was my least favorite spot in this trip. And it was because in general the people were cold. There was the language barrier, so it was harder to make friends unless they spoke English, because truthfully I didn't put enough effort into learning Mandarin, and so I just couldn't speak with them. It was harder to make friends. In general, the people were colder, meaning they just weren't always welcome, in the sense that you'd get stared at, you'd get gawked at, and then you'd smile back and there would just be nothing. Like, they just, you know, didn't realize they were staring and just kind of saw you as like this kind of freak or whatever. At least that's how I felt. And also my friends who were there with me, they felt the same way. And so, you know, I like to think it wasn't just me, and it's kind of the general tendency of at least the Chinese people where I was in Sinan. There was also a lack of sunshine, and that's pretty south too. That's not even really into the polluted, you know, really badly polluted parts of China. So, you know, I can't imagine what it would be like with the pollution on top of the lack of sunshine. So I probably had it pretty good, and still felt that, you know, it was really lucky to get a sunny day, to even get a clear day. Yeah, that's just kind of how I felt about China. But I also had some awesome times there. Saw some really cool shit. Ate some really good food. You know, typical of me. It was good for the people that I met there. But yeah, in general, least favorite spot. Moving on to the favorite spot. This is hard. There's a lot of factors that go into like what I really love about a spot, and there's like the natural beauty, there's the general tendency of the inhabitants of that spot. So like what really made me not like China so much were the people, because of their attitude, and then vice versa. On the flip side, there's India, which I really liked a lot, and that was a lot to do with the people. They were just the total opposite. They were warm and welcoming. They went out of their way to talk to you and just you know, get to know you. They you know, were really kind. Like, there were times when I was walking down the street and people were offering me rides, which I took, and which helped a lot, because sometimes public transportation was just shit and just couldn't get me where I wanted to go. And then there were times when they took me into their homes, or took me, like, let me stay with them in hotels, and made the place where I was, which was the state of Kerala, or Kerala as they say. And yeah, that was definitely, really top spot. The food was friggin' amazing. It was cheap, and it was so easy to find vegan food, and it was just so good. And then I'd have to say also, that was probably my favorite spot up until I came to New Zealand. And then the natural beauty of this place just totally blew me away. Okay, so on to things I learned. This one's kind of hard because there's so many little things that I learned that I just can't really go over, and that's mainly because I just can't think of them off the top of my head. They just come along as I go through life, and it's these little things like, just to name a few, like dealing with people. You've got to deal with people, sometimes not in your own language, and you just get better at dealing with people because you're forced to do things in traveling. Like, it's not like vacation. You still have to do stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I mean, like, you've got to find out where you're going. You've got to book bus tickets. You've got to talk to people, find out what's good to do. Like, you kind of want to find out what's the best to do in the area, and the best way to do that is to talk to the locals. Handling stress is a big one. Stuff goes wrong. There's no way to get around it. All you can do is just kind of be prepared in your mind for when it does happen, so that you're not breaking down and stressing out about things that you can't always control. I would just truly think about the problem that I was having right in that moment, and just compare it to like problems people have every day that are way worse, and it would just dissolve the stress. Scheduling issues were also, always on my mind. Just trying to plan my time was and will continue to be hard, because you're always trying to maximize utility and versus how much money you're spending, and so you're trying to think, how much time do I need here, what do I want to do, and you don't really know what is the best to do there, and you don't want to miss things. At least I hate that feeling, so I really tried not to do that, and so that was kind of stressful, just planning stuff. For me, what worked was just taking a step back, being like, okay, I want to do these things, so I'm just gonna sign up for this, do this, plan this, and like, if other stuff comes along, well, then I try and make it work. But if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world, and I still got to do the things that I really wanted to do. Experiences are better shared. What I mean by that is, it's pretty easy to figure out, but just having people with you when you're doing these crazy things is better than doing them alone. And I was lucky enough to have experienced both traveling with friends and then solo traveling throughout this year, and it was just better when I had somebody there to go through whatever we would go through. So I started off with my friend Max in Southeast Asia, and then I met Cody and Eloise in China and lived with them, and then went on to travel with Cody. Then he left, and then I went solo traveling for a bit, and then I met my friend Sandy in Japan. We traveled a bit, and then Australia, I was kind of alone. And sure, I worked at this place and I had like work acquaintances, but it was really hard to make friends being on the road and traveling all the time. And I met some really good people doing this camping trip on Fraser Island, which was really fun, but other than that, it was kind of hard to meet like-minded people and like do all the shit that I wanted to do. So I ended up being alone for most of Australia, and it taught me a lot. One, that obviously family and friends are everything in this world, and that, like I said, experiences are better shared. And it's just, you know, you go through, yeah, you'll have fights because, you know, or arguments because, like, you want to do something, they want to do something, you don't always want to do the same things, and then also you're just spending a lot of time with the same person, and, like, you know, everybody's had that experience where they just get on your nerves, and, like, you just learn to handle that better and kind of know it's coming, and then you just deal with it. But it's always worth it, in my opinion and my experience, to go through that, to have somebody there to do these things with, the good and the bad. And that's the other thing. You go through great times, and then you go through not such good times, and it helps to have somebody there when you're dealing with the shit times. And then also when you're going through the awesome times, it's better because you experience it, you talk about it, and yeah, it's just good. I also learned to remember why I'm doing a particular thing. So, you know, if I want to do XYZ, I think, you know, why do I want to do this? Like, if I want to hike this mountain, why do I want to hike a mountain? Is it just because, like, everybody else is doing it? Or is it because, you know, I've never hiked this mountain or hiked a mountain? Like, why am I doing the thing that I'm doing? And not just, you know, blindly doing whatever, and, you know, not just blindly doing things that I guess don't really suit my interests, just because they're something to do in this place, or, like, you know, I won't get to do them somewhere else. And, like, maybe that's the reason that you want to do that, and that's fine, but just make sure you actually have a reason, and that it's going to make you happy. Don't just do things because for the sake of doing them. Not letting routines become barriers and pushing your comfort zone. What I mean by that is, I love routines, like working out, eating this, doing that, and, like, having a structure to my day. I like doing that, but it can also become a barrier. You get comfortable in routines, and then you end up missing out on doing other stuff. So yeah, I'd have my routine in my van, like I posted that video, the day in the life, and, like, I liked it, and it was good, and like I said, it created this, like, comfort away from home. But then there was also the fact that, like, I shouldn't let that become a barrier, and, you know, I got to try different things, I got to do different things, and that's what kind of made me stop working earlier and then just go on that East Coast trip. And because, you know, I felt like I just had to break the routine and do something else. The tough times, so the times that you wouldn't have seen on video because I just didn't feel like filming, or I just couldn't because I was dealing with stuff. So yeah, lonely times were definitely the hardest. So in Australia, that was basically the loneliest time, or the loneliest part of this trip. Solo traveling, living in a van. Yeah, it just wasn't a spot where I could meet. No, that's not right. Like, you could meet people, but I guess making friends was probably the hardest. Being sober and not drinking definitely played a role in that. So, like, I'm not going out to the bars and having drinks, and that definitely makes it harder, I feel. And being always moving around made it harder too. Yeah, there was basically only so much you can do and like occupy yourself with in a day before you start to really feel that loneliness. And so yeah, that was definitely a tough time. Really made me miss my friends and family a lot. And this is where, you know, I really came to that. Not actually, that's not true. I knew, or I had come to that feeling of the importance of friends and family before Australia and being alone, but this is where I guess it really became like a weight on me, and or like a big feeling, a stronger feeling of just how important friends and family are, and the fact that you just can't take them for granted. Like we all know, you don't know what you have till it's gone, or till it's not there. So just it's just so important, I think, to value your friends and family, and most people do, but maybe it's like unconscious, or you're not really thinking about it a lot, which I get because I did the same thing. But friends and family, okay? Also made me realize how lucky I was to meet the people I did when I did. So Cody, Eloise, Alex, and Natalie in China. I was so lucky to have them when I did, and they really made China way better than it would have been on my own. Faj, Alex, and Anselmo in India also made it a lot better, and I realized that because I would do kind of activities with them, and then go and do like, you know, go explore a town by myself, and then come back and meet them again, and there was like this on and off, and it was definitely better when, you know, I could share the experience with them. Sandy in Japan, of course, that was, you know, if I had done Japan by myself, it would have been okay, but like just having Sandy there was just a lot better, and she also like pretty much organized the whole thing. She had all the knowledge and had done all the research beforehand, whereas I was just like, you know, give me mochi, and like that was it. And then Katie and Laura in New Zealand. Katie I knew from Guelph, and Laura also went to Guelph and was her roommate, and basically, yeah, they made it a lot better. And, you know, like I said to them, yeah, they just made, because I was doing New Zealand at the end, they really made New Zealand a lot better because it was at the end of the trip. It was like a nice, you know, bang to the end of it. Cody, Eloise, Alex, and Natalie in China. Faj, Alex, and Anselmo in India. Sandy in Japan. And then Katie and Laura in New Zealand. You guys are awesome, and you made my trip so much better than it would have been on my own. So thank you. Okay, so this next thing is probably the hardest time I went through, and it was when I got to Australia. I was so excited, and like I had been thinking about this obviously for a long time. It was pretty much, other than Japan, which was only 5 days before Australia, it was like the first developed country I was getting to in this trip. So it was like kind of coming back to all the comforts of Canada that I'd known, and just being able to speak English with them, and it like making communication so much easier. It's just, yeah, it was good. So I was really excited to get there, and when I got there, I was pumped. I got to Sydney. I right away pretty much started looking for a van, and started looking for a job, and then found the van, and then when I had to, basically I got the van, and I slept my first night in it, and like it was good. It's always the first night's the hardest. I find once you sleep somewhere and you get used to it, it's like it's a piece of cake afterwards. But so yeah, I bought the van. I was on my own, and I had to put it into my name essentially, and then extend the registration. You need a Australian address to do this. You can get away with using a hostel, which is how I did it. But essentially, to make a long story shorter, I'd gone to 2 different service stations to do this. The first one told me basically everything that I needed. I got that stuff, and then when I went to the second one, just because it happened to be closer to wherever I was, they were really hard, and like they were just really dicks. Like I get it, like the service sector isn't always the nicest place to work, because you got to deal with piss off people sometimes, but like these guys had been hardened by that, and they were just pricks. And I was trying to like understand and like cooperate with them, but they were just not giving any giving any leeway. Basically, they were just like, nope, you can't do this. Like whatever not all your documents, the documents that show the address thing are just not valid. You can't do it, and that's it. And then like they just wouldn't help me. And there was a point where like I was at the counter, and like I was talking to one lady and like going over the stuff, and then she wasn't sure about like the address thing, so she pulled over the manager or whatever, and she just like let it rip on me. And she was like, no, like you can't do that, you can't use this isn't valid, you need to have this, and it has to be stamped with this, and blah 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 blah. And like she just like was like, you can't do this. And like I really felt at that time like I was vulnerable, because like I was alone and all this shit was new to me. It was my first car. I was trying to do all this without really having any experience. And so when she just said that, it was like, it really hit me at that time. Like I just had no defenses up, and so I like almost broke down right there, and like almost started to cry, because like it was just like, whoa, like you didn't have to say it that way. You could have said it such a different way, but the way she did just totally like fucking wham. So I was like I was like looking down, because I was like trying to swallow my tears back, because I just didn't want to break down right there. Yeah, that was the other thing. So I was like really hot, under a high amount of stress, because I was learning to drive manual for the first time, and I was driving on the other side of the road, and it was in Sydney, pretty busy city. So it was like that. I was basically white knuckled stressed for 3 days, like basically until I got out of Sydney, because I was learning to drive stick shift, and it was on the other side of the road, so I was super fucking stressed. Every time I got into the car, I was like scared I was just gonna crash, and I just didn't want to do that. And that's when I was trying to get my registration in order and the insurance and stuff all, like I wanted it done, and so that I could just leave Sydney and not worry about it, because I figured it would be easier to do it in the big city. And so I just had all that stress, and then that woman just laid it on me, and I was like, oh man, like there was so much emotion in my head. Like I said, I almost broke down and started crying. And then I was also fucking furious. Like I just wanted to like reach across the desk and choke her. So like I was looking down. I was like trying to breathe so that I didn't break down. But yeah, that was the hardest time, hands down, for sure. Would I do anything differently? A few things I wrote down. Spend more time in certain places and less in others. And that's just kind of like, you'll only really get that feeling with hindsight, looking back at things and being like, oh yeah, I should have gone here, and I should have not stayed here so long. But yeah, Max and I learned that pretty early on in our Southeast Asia trip. And yeah, that was pretty much like, particularly at the start, we figured, we should have stayed here longer and like not here so long. But yeah, that was one thing, which can obviously be helped with research in advance. So like, know the things that you want to do for sure, hands down, that like are really your interest and that you want to do, and research that as much as possible in all the places that you plan to go, so that at least you know, okay, like I want to do these, and if I do them, then I did them, and you'll be happy about it. Yeah, I would say, yeah, know what you want to do, and travel with someone in the future. So like I kind of talked about earlier about sharing the experience with somebody, in terms of doing things differently, I wish I had somebody to travel with in Australia and New Zealand. I met my friend from university, and then also her friends who were living in Queenstown with her, which was fun, but I still would have wished I had somebody to travel New Zealand with. A lot of driving and just so many awesome places to see. Like I said, the experience is always better shared. Anyway, so for the future, I'm definitely going to find somebody to travel with, and somebody with like relatively the same values and the same interests, so that like the things that we're doing are like the things that we want to do are pretty much the same, so that it's not like, oh, we're always off alone doing our own thing. So finding somebody to travel with for the future with similar interests is something that I'm gonna do from now on, because I feel like I've done my solo traveling, and it teaches you a lot to handle things on your own. It's harder, so it's kind of like that stress that helps you learn. But I've done it, and now I want to pretty much do all my traveling with people in the future. So those are pretty much the two things I'd change: a duration of stay in certain places, and then having somebody to travel with. Those are the thoughts that I'd written down. I'm sure there's others that I will probably think of later on. And if you guys ever have any questions, like just comment below, and I will answer them as best I can. I'd be happy to answer them. And you probably will touch on things that I wished I had touched on if I could have remembered and written them down. But so those are my thoughts. Tomorrow I fly home. I'm so fucking excited. I just can't wait. I've been restless this last week. As soon as I got to the North Island of New Zealand, I got the kind of itch to be home. And it's been a year since I've been in Canada. We'll see how it goes when I get back. I don't know what it's going to be like, what I'm going to go through. But I'm going to stay busy. I've got so many things that I've thought about over this past year that I want to do, and so I'm going to do them. What else? I'm surprising my family when I come home. I'm coming home for the Jamboree, which is our annual camping trip. They think I'm missing it, so I'm going to surprise them again. Who doesn't love surprises? So, can't have too many. But yeah, I'm going to do that, so I'm really excited about that. It's kind of bittersweet because I want to get home and see them, but I got to wait a few days before I actually do the surprise on the right day. But I'm staying with my buddy, James, who I haven't seen in a year, and yeah, I can't wait to see my friends. I'm so excited. Fuck. Yeah, a year. It flew by. It really flew by. There were times at the start where I was like, man, it's got to go faster. But then, you look back and it always seems to just go in a flash. So, yeah, tomorrow I will be back in Canada, and I am so friggin' excited. Love you guys. Take care. Go out and do it. Go out and do it. Whatever it is you want to do, do it. Okay? Yeah. That's all I can think of right now. So, see you later. We going home, son. We going home. And hello, Canada. Woo! James and his dad are here to pick me up. I'm so fucking excited. Oh God, I see him.
Really, really close because it's like you have to. You can't get anywhere. So no one ever lets anyone in. Oh God!
How's it going? That's awesome, buddy. Oh, yes! Very exciting. That's awesome.
I didn't know who was gonna be here, but
Yes!
Dude, I knew it! I knew it! We knew it! Yes! What's going on, James?
What's up, buddy?
Yo, man.
Gotta get on camera.
How's it going? How's it going? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow, I knew it! I knew it!
Okay, so hi everybody. It's good to be back. I left last Jamboree on the Sunday home for rest. I went away for a year, traveled the world a bit, and I decided to write a song about the travels. And this is the song, so hope you enjoy. Starts with a meal and ends with a deal that I'm gonna be away for a while, but I'm coming back. The first stop is Thailand, the backpack of Highland. So many thoughts racing through my mind. What am I gonna find? The goal will be myself, the next will be a shelf to put away all of my bananas. A man can only dream. Back to the story of all-day hikes, dangerous bikes, and the bestest food I've ever eaten. You better believe me now. Lessons learned on values, friends and family, food from the earth and love from the heart, and of course, an open mind. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, thanks, Terry. Plenty of hot days, soy milk lattes, and swimming deep in the clear blue sea. Does it get any better? We'll have to wait and see, cause it's my time to say goodbye. Pack my bags cause I am moving along. Moving along. Moving along. Into the Middle Kingdom, the land of the dragon. Terrible drivers, non-confrontation, and smoking everywhere. Outside, inside, restaurants, bus stations. In the bus, sure why not, but don't forget the schools and the hospitals where the doctors put them on prescription. Just kidding, not really, but back to the silly part where China believes if you burn enough paper, you'll be rich in the afterlife. It wasn't all that bad, I made some really good friends, learned to play guitar like a kind of rock star, and to appreciate how good we have it in this country. One of the things that I realized when my head was as clear as the skies was that the grass wasn't greener and just how much I miss my own backyard. So with the time that we have left, do the things that make you smile. You better run that extra mile and eat the things that'll keep you here a while, 'cause we are moving along. We are moving along. We are moving along. Godas in Bagano with Jesus in India. Sorry man, I just was in India. Couch surfing Kochi, Tokyo mochi. Hiking in Hong Kong and sunsets in Yangon to the land down under. Sleeping in a van, food from a can. Hell yeah man, flying to Florida to get some more of the family loving that I've been craving. Having fun in the sun, it was how when it was done. Back to Aussieville to get my surf and fell a stint to New Zealand. Back to the homeland for jamboree time, it's the best time. It's the best time.